Hey everyone, it's Jim from Outershell, and today I'm going to be walking you through our updated Drawcord Handlebar Bag. The Drawcord Handlebar Bag is actually the best-selling Outershell product ever, so naturally we wanted to take our time making updates to this design, and over the years we've had lots of customer feedback and ideas of our own on how to improve it. And last summer actually Kyle signed up for an event called PBP, Paris-Brest-Paris, which is an ultra-endurance 1,200 kilometer ride that's led out of Paris every 4 years. And while he was making his own set of custom bags for his event, we thought, hey, what an opportunity to try out some of these new concepts. And we incorporated a bunch of new features into the bag that he used for all of his training rides and then for the actual event. And that led us to do a limited run of bags to sell to the public, which sold pretty quickly, and we got a lot of really good positive customer feedback from that. So we thought, hey, we'll take all those features, refine them as much as we can, and then we'll incorporate it into our updated standard product offering. We wanted to honor the spirit of the original design, so as you can see, it's still the same overall profile and volume. It still has the same super easy one-handed open and close function, the drawcord. And it has a lot of pockets still for organization for specific items, so you're not digging around in the main bag. The overall volume is still really good for, say, like a long day ride. But if you wanted to do a multi-day epic or some longer bike packing trip, it integrates really well with our handlebar harness or stem caddies if you wanted like more storage up front as well. Now, as far as the updated features are concerned, I think the most obvious one is this clear pocket on the lid. So this is similar to what you would find on a lot of randonneur bags or what you would find on our basket bag or rack bag. It's a great place to put stuff that you want to see during your ride. So it could be anything from like some patches or some stickers that you want to throw in there for a little personal flair. If you're like me and you have a little bit of hesitation in permanently sewing a patch on or ironing it on, it's a nice way to add your own touch to it, but without making a permanent change to the bag. You can also put notes in there. So if you have a map or if you have some waypoints that you want to note down, you can put it in there and you can see it while you're riding. Or you can also put a phone in there if you want to be able to see your phone while you're riding. If you receive a text message or something, you can either like pass through it, or if you're just changing the track that you're listening to, you can do that through the lid. The lid has a YKK locking zipper so that it's going to be securely closed even if you're opening and closing it while you're riding. And the next feature that you can see up here as well is this. You can see one of them. This is an acrylic rod that's sewn into the top lid of the bag. And there's also a couple acrylic rods that go along the sides here. And what these do, they kind of work like tent poles. So they add overall structural rigidity to the bag. It works in conjunction with this die-cut plastic. So we have a piece of plastic that goes along the front and the bottom and the back. And the acrylic rods just complete the rectangular prism. So you have a much more rigid overall like box structure to the bag. And in particular on the lid, it just keeps the top edge of the lid nice and flat. And when it's closed, it's just closed that much more securely. And on the sides, it enables us to use these stretch pockets, which I'll explain in a little bit more detail. One really cool thing about the rods is that when it's designed properly, like this is basically the only thing that you're adding. So you have one of these on each side and one on the top, and it's sewn into a little sleeve. Altogether, these only weigh 8 grams, but they add so much more structure to the bag. And it's just a really cool way of implementing it. It was pretty difficult to do. The tolerances are pretty tight, and because, in a tent pole, you can like flex the whole thing because it's super long. On this type of bag, you can't really flex it when you're installing it. So we had to be really precise about the measurements and the design of the interior sleeve so that it would be really close to the corners, but still not too difficult to manufacture. And like I was saying, on the sides here, it adds this degree of rigidity to this pocket area. So it allows us to use a stretch pocket. And these stretch pockets have a channel with some elastic sewn inside, but the pocket itself is made out of the same, as you can see, it's just one panel that goes all the way around. It's made out of the same body fabric. So this is that super durable EcoPack fabric in this case, or it could be 1000D Cordura if you choose a different model. What that does is it takes the stress off of the fabric itself, or it uses a much stronger fabric to handle the stress. If we were to use like a mesh stretch fabric, it'd be a lot easier to design that. But those fabrics are more susceptible to abrasion or like sagging over time. This is just going to maintain its integrity even if you regularly max out these pockets. Now, as far as how you would actually use the bag and what would be a typical loadout, I've got a couple examples I'll walk you through here. I'll start with the one that's on the bike because it showcases this kind of overflow capacity. So you can use the lid and the elastic cord closure to secure a larger item. So if you've got something that's like really high volume, in this case I've got a jacket as an example, but you could easily put like a pair of sandals, or if you pick up a bag of chips on your way to your destination, you can throw it under the lid really quick and secure it with the closure. And on the main bag, these two side pockets serve as the quickest possible access while you're on the go, without having to open the main compartment at all. And I've got a bar on this side. Realistically, you could probably put like 3 or 4 bars in each side, or you could use one for bars and then shove your trash on the other side. On the other side here, I've got a pocket knife, and I've also got a set of keys here. So we have these D-rings that we've designed for use with a shoulder strap, but I find them really handy if you want to clip something onto them. So I've got the keys here so you can just grab them really quickly without having to dig through the bag. In the front, there's a flat pocket where I've stashed a couple fruit leathers, great for flat items, of course. And as I said earlier, I like to use the top lid for just a bit of personal flair. You could use this for your phone or a map or just some other like writing notes that you want to see while you're on the go. On the inside, I've got another bag of cookies. You'll see that I like to carry a lot of snacks here. An apple as well for some fresh options. Point and shoot camera, film camera that I really like. And then of course I've got gloves, I've got a beanie. On some of the rides that we do here in San Francisco or in the greater Bay Area, you might see some pretty wild temperature fluctuations. So I might leave the mission and go across the bridge and see like a 20, 30, 40 degree variance in temperature. So it's nice to have space for all the different options. On the inside, there's a zipper pocket. So this is for stuff that you're not going to use super often. And the zipper pocket here is flat. I've got a little Ziploc bag. So I've got some emergency cash, which is always nice to have. I've got a super minimal first aid kit. I hesitate to call it a first aid kit. I just have some Band-Aids and some antiseptic wipes if I need them. The bag itself is actually pretty handy. I've gone through many of these on a ride. If you're like picking up trash or just something that's like, kind of gross that you don't want to mix in with the rest of your stuff here. One thing I'll highlight is that I really like to have all these pockets with dedicated functions so that it kind of leaves the main compartment available for whatever I need that day, whether it's just a bunch of food or a bunch of layers or some other random item that I'm taking to work or taking somewhere else. It's nice to have that space to put in there. And I know that I showed this with the jacket on the outside earlier. One thing I'll highlight as I put these things back in, the drawcord actually comes up pretty high. So the drawcord itself is about 3.5, 4 inches higher than the actual body of the bag. So if this was stuffed full and you still wanted to keep your larger item inside, you could conceivably stuff it in here. And just wanted to show you how high that actually goes. And then the lid would close over the top of that, and it would still be relatively secure even when it's like crammed super full. That pretty much covers everything that I wanted to show in this video. All the updates to the bag and the standard features that you're already familiar with or probably already familiar with. If you have any other questions, feel free to drop them in the comments or send us an Instagram message or an email. But yeah, that's about it. Thanks for watching.